Long before factories, smokestacks, and brick row homes, this land was quiet. Dense forests stretched along the Schuylkill River. Deer moved through the trees. Water carved slow bends through the valley. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples lived here, hunting, fishing, and traveling the river that would one day define the town. The river was the reason this place existed long before it had a name. In the early 1700s, European settlers arrived, drawn by fertile soil and reliable water. German immigrants, many seeking religious freedom and farmland, began to establish homesteads along the riverbanks. They built mills powered by flowing water, turning grain into flour and timber into usable lumber. This small settlement became known as Pottsgrove, named after John Potts, an ironmaster whose influence would shape the future of the region.
Potts recognized something others had not yet fully understood. This area was rich in iron. Iron would change everything. By the mid-1700s, iron furnaces began operating nearby, feeding the growing demand for tools, cookware, and construction materials in the American colonies. The river provided power. The surrounding forests provided charcoal. The land provided ore. Pottsgrove became an early industrial outpost, even before the American Revolution. When war broke out, the iron produced in this region mattered. Cannons, shot, and supplies from southeastern Pennsylvania helped support the Continental Army. While battles weren't fought directly in Pottsgrove, the town quietly contributed to the fight for independence. After the war, the young nation expanded rapidly, and Pottsgrove expanded with it. In 1815, the town was officially incorporated and renamed Pottstown. The new name reflected what it was becoming, a town defined by work. The 19th century transformed Pottstown from a river settlement into a true industrial town. Iron production evolved into steel manufacturing. Rolling mills and foundries rose along the river. Railroads arrived, connecting Pottstown to Philadelphia and beyond. The river that once powered small mills now fueled heavy industry. By the late 1800s, Pottstown was booming. Factories ran day and night. Smoke filled the air. Workers poured in from across the region and from overseas. Irish, Italian, Eastern European, and later African American families came looking for steady wages and a chance at stability. Neighborhoods grew quickly. Brick homes were built close together. Churches, schools, and social clubs formed around ethnic and religious communities. Work was hard. Hours were long. Conditions were dangerous. But the pay mattered. Steel from Pottstown helped build railroads, bridges, and cities across America. For decades, the town thrived on industrial momentum. By the early 20th century, Pottstown was firmly a blue-collar town. Generations of families worked in the same mills. A job at the steel plant meant security. It meant you could raise a family, buy a home, and expect your children to do the same. Downtown bustled with shops, theaters, and restaurants. Trolleys ran through town. Baseball games and parades filled weekends. Life revolved around shifts, church on Sunday, and community events. Then the world changed. The Great Depression hit hard. Factories slowed or shut down. Unemployment rose. Families struggled, but Pottstown endured. When World War II arrived, industry roared back to life. Steel production surged again, this time for the war effort. Men left for combat. Women entered factories. The mills worked around the clock, producing materials essential to victory. Once again, Pottstown played a quiet but critical role in a global conflict. After the war, optimism returned. The 1950s brought prosperity. New homes were built. Cars filled the streets. Schools expanded. Pottstown reached its population peak, a confident American town built on industrial success. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. By the 1960s and 1970s, American manufacturing began to change. Foreign competition increased. Automation reduced labor needs. Factories aged. Costs rose. One by one, steel plants across the country shut down. Pottstown was not spared. As mills closed, jobs disappeared. Families moved away. Downtown businesses struggled.
The river that once powered prosperity now flowed past abandoned industrial buildings. What had once been the town's greatest strength became its greatest vulnerability. The decline was not sudden. It was slow and painful. Empty storefronts multiplied. Population dropped. Poverty increased. Generations who expected stable factory work found fewer options for their children. By the late 20th century, Pottstown was searching for a new identity. Yet the town did not vanish. Instead, it endured. Community organizations formed. Preservation efforts saved historic buildings. Former industrial sites were reimagined.
The riverfront, once dominated by factories, began to open up for recreation and redevelopment. In recent decades, Pottstown has worked to reinvent itself. Small businesses returned to downtown. Art spaces and breweries moved into old buildings. Trails along the Schuylkill brought cyclists and visitors through town. The past was no longer erased, but repurposed. The story of Pottstown is not unique. It is the story of countless American towns built on industry, shaped by labor, tested by change, and forced to adapt when the economy moved on. What makes Pottstown different is that its history is still visible. In the brickwork, in the mill ruins, in the neighborhoods built for workers who believed the work would last forever. Pottstown was never just a factory town. It was a river town, an iron town,
a working town. And like the river that runs through it, Pottstown has bent, slowed, and changed course, but it has never fully stopped moving.
Be a stranger than you think. From forgotten battles to bizarre inventions, we uncover the stories that make you say, "What the history?"